Shit at the mouth from a wet ass fever.
Beat it up, N-word. Catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard.
No.
I said that's what Ben Shapiro said. I said N-word. I didn't say the actual.
I
I'd like you to park this Big Mac truck in this little garage.
Beat it up, N-word. Catch a charge. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Extra large and extra hard.
I'm keeping that in.
Let's do it. This is what feminists fought for right here.
Oh my God! What a! I'm trying to think of a good word. What a grifter. That's a good one.
Grifter, isn't that the enemies in Harry Potter?
No, those are
Drifters?
No, David. The enemies in Harry Potter weren't homeless people hopping on and off trains, okay?
All right, let me at least introduce this before we actually go into this Harry Potter podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Harry Potter podcast. We are the Pottermore podcast, bringing you the best in Harry Potter content, especially now that J.K. Rowling apparently hates trans people.
Does she? What happened with that? Like,
She started posting a bunch of stuff, like suspiciously anti-trans stuff. And then you fell back behind these straw men, like, you know, hold on, men and women are, we don't have to get into it, but basically she's a turf. She's a turf.
It's not the right podcast, yeah, but she's just weird.
Word. I see. You know what? Is it like Joe Rogan level where Joe Rogan's like, hey, they probably shouldn't be competing?
No, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. It's like unapologetically just kind of, posting very suspiciously,
Oh, is it like what's his name? Henner? Is it Henner or Caesar? I can't remember which one. Where he's like quoting Hitler.
That was Henzo. And Henzo quoted Heinrich Himmler.
Yeah.
Henzo put out a Heinrich Himmler quote, and it was something not innocuous, but like it definitely didn't sound good. And then people were like, hey, Henzo, this is a Himmler quote. And instead of walking it back, he's like, well, boy, it's a good quote anyway. I like it. So screw you. No, but Henzo's got a history of just debaucherous behavior. I think there's an article out at MMAfighting.com where they did a report on all the sketchy stuff he's done throughout the years, from like antics in the cage where like after the match was done, he stepped on someone's head, to like, just really homophobic, slanderous comments, and like, just the history of the stuff. It's pretty damning. And one thing that they also exposed was, as someone in BJJ, you always look up to Helio Gracie, and then you realize, wow, the guy was actually not a great human being. Like, first of all,
he stopped a brawl mid happening though.
He did. He also said that when he thought someone was gay, that he'd go and beat them up without provocation. He'd be like, "Oh, are you looking at me? What are you looking at me for?" And he'd beat the crap out of them. He also told his sons not to have sex unless it was for reproductive purposes, and he said he only had sex for reproduction. So, Helio, you might be gay yourself, man. You might want to stop victimizing poor.
Look at David's
Go
face.
talk.
Look at
Go talk to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson can probably help you out with those issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me introduce our podcast. Okay. Let me actually.
What do you have against homosexuals? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm thinking perhaps maybe because you are homosexual.
I've lost this podcast.
Go on, Zorla.
I've lost this podcast.
Mike Tyson, yeah, you definitely see he's gone through like all that. He's definitely worked out all those demons. Well, not all of them. I mean, but
That's good though. There needs to be more voices like that in communities that are prone to like super, with
homophobia and racism in sports. What's new, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, introduce.
I'm trying.
Let me just do my Mike Tyson impression real quick.
I'm gonna do some toxic masculinity. Be a man and just introduce us.
Well, hold on. Let me do my Mike Tyson impression first.
All right.
I'm starting to think that maybe you are homosexual because you're always ragging on the homosexuals. What do you have some issues with them? Why are you always trying to victimize homosexuals?
That's my Mike Tyson.
Mike, let's hear your little boozy impression. Let's go.
No, sir.
Well,
I actually think
why are you always trying to give them a hard time then?
I think your Mike Tyson impression is terrible. I think mine is much better, right?
You know what the most savage thing Mike Tyson said once? He was like talking to a female reporter, and she like spoke out of turn. He's like,
you might want to stop talking because I don't speak to women unless I'm fornicating with them. So unless you wanna,
then he just looks at her and he's like,
so unless you wanna,
yeah, unless you wanna fornicate.
I suggest you.
Man, no, he said some wild stuff back in the day.
He said, "I'm
hilarious.
Permission to swear," to quote Mike Tyson.
No, because I have to edit this. So what are you talking about?
He said, I'm a fuck you till you love me gay slur for homosexuals.
Oh yeah, no.
Thank the Lord you didn't say that, please. Oh,
What, maggot?
yes.
But then again, we're
Okay.
not like, we're not glorifying, and I think even he would say he's not like very proud of that. But at the same time, like,
It was hilarious. I can't lie. It was hilarious.
He's done a lot of work on himself, though.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Mike. Iron Mike.
yeah, just don't fight, man.
Smoked a lot of weed.
But
Yeah.
maybe you
And
should,
DMT,
like,
whatever.
Wait,
Whatever that
so
stuff is.
What podcast is this? This is the Leg Kick, right?
We are the Late Kick, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our main host, Michael Asiffo. It's kind of cold in here, so he's wearing a beanie. I don't know why. But he's
I forgot to
representing.
take it off.
No, you didn't. He's representing Adidas. Hold on. First of all, did I walk into a Black Panther rally? What's going on here? Literally, these guys are both
Yes.
dressed in all black.
Wow.
Like,
wow,
they're
that's racist.
they're-
Just because we're black, we're supposed to be Black Panthers?
Wait, hold on. Just 'cause you're-
That's a little racist.
Just because you're black and dressed from head to toe in all black with a black bandana and an Africa pennant on, are you guys going to kidnap me for ransom money?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so we're the Leg Kick podcast.
And Jeremy Asiffo over here. Jeremy Kuntakinte Asiffo.
What do you got for me today?
He's Jeremy Kuntakinte Asiffo. He's over
See,
here.
you know what? I love how every white person somehow butchers our name in some unspeakable manner. Asiffo, okay? Asiffo.
Hold on. This is the guy who was calling me Stefano Hosko.
Hosko, yeah.
Hosko for like the first 3 years. All right, Mike.
yes,
you want to
yes.
get into pronunciations, big guy? Huh?
But in fairness, I was saying it for like all 3 years of our relationship, as this guy we used to call him the ass kicking librarian. Because he'd come in from his shift at the library one time. This is how I met him. He'd come in from his shift at the library. He'd come to Mac, right? He'd walk in. He'd be like, "Hey guys," and he'd take off his glasses, put it in a little case,
And then I'd
right?
proceed to
and he'd
take
proceed
all
to
of their
lay
limbs.
waste to the jujitsu section of like while I'm like training with Justin Lee in the side,
Well,
and-
Justin Lee's busy giving guys who've never sparred in their life before brain trauma. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and then over here on the phone line, we have our Ottawa correspondent, Far East Asia correspondent, member of the East Asia's Prosperity Co. David Agbaire.
No, Stefano. We're not gonna do that. Don't do that, man.
Michael,
That's weird.
Michael.
And I always, why
Michael.
would you even do that?
Michael.
Come on.
Yeah,
You know what the funny part is
Michael,
that we had
let's jump
30
him.
minutes of like
Let's
regular
jump him.
conversation
Good luck.
before this, and Stefano just chooses to come out with the most weird race play weird shit. Always. Come on, Stefano.
I'm that guy who takes shit too far and then says, "Hey, hold on a minute.
Always.
I've got black friends."
Yeah, for real though. And then other black people come to us, and then we just like, yeah, I guess, man. Like, I guess he's cool. Yeah.
I guess he's cool.
Dude, I remember telling Jeremy, like, whenever you bring up Stefano's name, because Jeremy boxes with a guy who apparently knows Stefano.
Who?
I can't remember. What was his name again?
Oh, at my gym, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike who?
Well, I think I don't know. His name is just Mike. He's got like tattoos. He's a semi-professional mixed martial artist. He says he trains in Matador. There's a lot of Mikes that
Mike?
train in Matador though.
Mike who trains at Matador.
Anyway,
Bro.
that's not the story. So the story is,
But he
that,
didn't.
like,
He didn't have any. He
didn't have any.
ill.
No, he didn't have any woe. But like I've been saying, like,
Black guy,
yo,
white
when,
guy?
He's a white guy. I believe he looked like he had some spice. So I think he would be Italian.
This guy said spice.
He looked like he had some. No, not spice. Flavor. Do you
A
use
little
that
bit.
word? He looked like he had some
Hold
flavor.
on. He looked like he had some flavor, Jeremy.
Yeah, some
Did he
flavor.
taste
a little bit of
spicy?
seasoning. I get
He
it.
tasted spice. He tasted flavory. He didn't taste like the typical white person. His mayo was flavored. I get it. Anyway,
anyway,
I haven't even introduced
the story.
myself.
The story was is that like I go. Oh, so yeah, you met Mike. Yeah, he knows Stefano and Donnie and all them. Yeah. He just said they're cool. Like whatever. I was like, wow, really? Because whenever someone brings up Stefano, it's either one of two ways. Oh, I love that guy, or fuck him.
I'm a polarizing figure. I'm an acquired taste. Okay, you love me or you hate me. I'm like cilantro. but I will add
Man.
spice to your life. I can assure you that.
Also-
and then finally we have myself, god of MMA. I can slam a revolving door. When I do a push up, I push the world down. It's your boy, Stefan Hosko. Why are you so quiet? What the hell?
Yeah, no, because that no sell that deserved a no sell.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay, then, moving on. Let's move on to some news because we had a big special announcement to make.
da-da-da-da.
The UFC. Oh, news segment. Okay, Mike, give me a little.
New segment provided by Stefano.
The news. Oh, we also have some big boxing and ONE FC to get into over the weekend. We got a little Bellator as
We're
well.
not getting into the ONE FC.
Why?
Why not?
The Martin Quinn Tan Lee fight. Come on, bro. Christian Lee.
Really? You watch that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we can get into it.
Wow. Our East
Dave,
Asia
why do you got to be
correspondent.
strong-armed into sharing us?
No, I just think there's something that Stefano said a couple of weeks ago that really resonated with me, and I've been watching their games ever since. It's that, like, you know, I feel
everyone's a world champion.
They have a
Yeah,
Pardon?
everyone for some reason is a world champion at ONE FC.
Whatever.
yeah.
Was
And
that
it's
it? Was
just
that
like-
it?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, who are these guys in these matchups? Every
He's a
single
world
card.
champion. He's a world champion.
52 world titles. He's fought everybody in the
That's not
world.
ONE FC, though.
Dude, it's so true. Isn't it so true? It's so cringy how they do that. Dude, once you pull back on the curtain on ONE FC, you can't unsee it. Like, they'll be like, this person's a world championship. Meanwhile, they won some kata tournaments over in, like, you know, some local kata tournaments. Like, it's crazy.
In their gym, like, not even like.
And the crazy thing about them is, you know, as much as it's utter cringe and their promo packages are just garbage. Like that whole one where it's like, because I watched, and they got the little girl from the Philippines. She's like, because I watched Angela Lee become a world championship, I know that women can do anything, so I'll become a doctor. It's like, stop, why?
Stop, don't do that. You can't tell people what they're inspired by. Don't do that.
Right,
We don't know whether that little girl is inspired by Angela Lee. She might be a doctor someday. We don't know.
There's a word for this. It's called astroturfing. When you like try to fake grassroots support, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, the crazy thing is at the upper levels, while it's still around, there's actually a few. You know, there's some good talents at the upper levels. Like I like Martin Nguyen. I like Tan Lee. You know, I enjoy me some
look,
Christian
I
Lee.
know he lost, you know, but he's gonna bring Burma on the map, man. I'm telling. No, it's not Burma anymore.
Oh, you're
but-
talking? No, that's not Tan Lee. That's
No, that's what I'm saying. As much as he lost, he's bringing Burma. He's gonna bring
So
Burma.
there's
on
some- there's some okay fighters
So
there.
that's the
Sorry.
thing. When they do promote and they promote like that, and it's guys who are legit, man, can they sell you?
But yeah, like posting the exact same highlight of Sage Northcutt's older sister wearing like a long sleeve shirt in the ring and punching some like 4'11" lady in the face. It's like, guys, it's not as epic as you're trying to make it out to be. You know?
yeah, God bless their soul. But yeah, we'll get to that. News though.
News, okay. So the one big announcement I really wanted to get into with you guys, and this is juicy. Jeremy, I don't know if you know what I'm about to say, but this is like, this is some savory. This is savory. Okay, so I didn't know what the UFC was going to do with Israel Adesanya from this point. I thought, you know, maybe there's the Whitaker matchup, but we live in the pandemic era of matchmaking, right? Where the bigger the better, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And at the same time, this kind of intersecting story that we've been talking about is that light heavyweight's actually exciting again.
Wide open.
I did hear about this actually.
And I thought the UFC was going to take some time, you know, do the smart move, play the long game, develop your light heavyweight division. You know, Jan Blachowicz has a cool story.
Lahovitz.
Are you mansplaining to me right now? So they've got an interesting 205 division. Jan they could maybe build him up as a nice European star, capture that Polish market. It was interesting. And then they're like, no, let's nuke the division. Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz.
What'd I say?
Nuke, dropping a nuke on the light heavyweight division. They do not want to see the light heavyweight division succeed.
What'd I say?
But Jeremy said Jan's the guy, though. In fairness,
What'd I say?
He said
we
Jan's-
want to see it, man. We want to see fights, man. We just want to see competitive fights. And you're the one who said you want to see him against a really good bull. Here's your bull. Bull, Matador meet Bull, Bull meet Matador.
Look, that's a good point, and I like that. I like your thinking, but come on, can we build them up a little more? Can we get the maybe like a Glover Teixeira, Thiago Santos, a couple of fights, so this matchup has a little bit of epicness to it. You know what I mean? I feel like we've just crowned our new champ, and people are just ready to get behind him, invest in him, and then they're just like, you know what? This is the Izzy show, ladies and gentlemen.
But sorry, I'll let David go in before I say my thing.
No, I was just gonna say, what's the point in building up a division? What's the point in having fights? Like, what was this weekend? We had one. Geez, I should have better notes of this, but it was. Oh my goodness, some guy. Anyway, no.
David is the guy who stumbles into work an hour late with a hangover. Shirt half tucked in his pants. His notes are all scattered and like not in their binder, falling out of the place. I saw some guy punch some other guy in the face.
This podcast is
I'm going back to last week because I feel like this was a valid point. No, the Ankalaev fight. What's the point in having fights like the Ankalaev fight? If you're just gonna nuke the division every single time, what's the point in building up light heavyweight fighters? Because if you're go on. Sorry,
let him speak. I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
No. That's how I feel because, like, I mean. And it's not just a light heavyweight thing. It's any division. Yeah. What's the point in having a division where people are working towards a goal if you're just going to say, actually, the rankings don't mean anything? We're just
exactly.
And I feel like let me explain something because I have a point here. Because on one level, I agree with you. And this is what Ray Seppo, and I always say, this is what Ray Seppo and World Series of Fighting, now PFL, tried to do. They tried to make the rankings matter. They instituted a point system. They made it sure that you had to climb a ladder. Here's the thing with the UFC, though, is John Jones and Israel Adesanya really want a matchup in 2021. Mothers have been brought into this. Wives have been brought into this. They really want the UFC and everybody.
Their mothers and wives are going to fight too?
No, personally, they've been talked about.
Family feud.
They signed the contract?
No, hold on, guys. Let me explain. The UFC really wants this matchup to take place, and Israel Adesanya said, I only want it in 2021 or at some point where I'm not going to be a statistic for John Jones, where I'm ready. So what they want to do, at least this is my thinking, is they want the belt off of Jan so that John Jones comes back to face Israel Adesanya in 2021.
Step aside.
First of all,
step aside.
Man, can I just say, can we stop pretending, with all due respect, stop pretending that when you reach a certain level that these belts really mean anything. When you reach a certain level, like, you're really fighting for the money. Like, you're not fighting for, like, I'm trying to be the champion. Like, John Jones has been champion for years. Like, his legacy is solidified. He doesn't need to be like light heavyweight champion again. Even if Adesanya lost his next fight, like, you really think that he's not going to have the confidence of a champion? I'm not buying it, man. Like, I just think there's no need to like nuke an entire division just so that you can put on a super fight. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
I agree with you partially. I agree with you for the most part. I do think fighters have other motivations other than money necessarily at the high levels. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Like, I mean, John Jones is set for life, as is someone like George St. Pierre. I think what drives them in a lot of cases is the challenge and the greatness and building a legacy, right? And I think one loss can really affect someone. Now, that being said, I agree with you. And I feel like when you have too many super fights, they're just fights. Like, they're no longer super fights. Back in the day, George St. Pierre versus BJ Penn was one of the biggest fights of all time because they both cleaned out their respective divisions, right? There was time in between their first matchup. The storyline had time to ferment and like form a nice, juicy, there's a nice, juicy storyline.
And I have to say, BJ Penn's promotion of that fight, A1.
George, I'm going to the death. I'm going to kill you. And I'm not joking about that.
He had the best trash talking line I've ever heard in MMA. Well, one of my favorites. Okay, so they were filming the promo, and they're just BJ and his crew. They're sitting around in Hilo. He's training. He's like, George, listen to me. I want you to do something for me, okay? Go home, relax, take your shoes off, go to bed, lay down, take about a good 10, 20 minutes, And go fuck yourself. That is the best way I've heard.
Write it down, Michael. Write it
I
down.
like that. It was a good line. That's a good line.
No, but me and Michael were talking about this. I can't remember when, but we had this discussion, and I said with the comparison to boxing, like with MMA, guys' legacies happen so quickly because these fights are so. They happen so fast. Like you don't get years to get like a fight like Tiafimo and Loma, because those fights rarely happen. And I think because of that, you have the guys' legacies happen like in the span of 5 years, as opposed to guys like Floyd Mayweather, whose legacy spanned over like 10 years per se.
Yep.
So so I can't remember where I was going with this point, but
it's the other end of the spectrum, right? It's the other extreme.
right, exactly. Yeah. Like, so you kind of want to have that like sweet spot, that middle ground, exactly. Like, I think you're right though. Yeah, I think you would want to see a lightweight division kind of build itself up in terms of competition and storylines and everything like that. But I mean, frankly, I'm excited to see.
Look, I just
go at it.
I just know what's happening. Like, I'm not stupid. When the UFC does things like bully Leon Edwards into fighting Hamza Chimaev through negotiation
that really rubbed you the wrong way.
Oh my god! Because that's. You want to know why the antitrust lawsuit's happening? Because of stuff like that. Now, I get it. It's a lower level thing to bully Leon Edwards into a match with Hamza Chimaev.
Yeah, but it's bad faith business practice.
That's why people are mad. That is why people are mad. So when the UFC, so I know what the UFC's doing, and I know that they can't BS me. I know they want that Jones versus that Izzy matchup, and I know this is a step one to do it. Now, if Jan blows him up in the first round, then they've learned their lesson. But
by the way, as far as the Leon Edwards situation, it's like, hey, you're an independent contractor. Start acting like it and fall in line.
Oh,
you know what?
My point was though that's why Anderson Silva is my GOAT, because of how the UFC works and how he was able to sustain his dominance over that course of time. Although I wasn't really a big UFC fan during that time. Was it the same kind of thing where they would make these fights happen so quickly during his reign?
No, so during his reign, there was a lot less cross-divisional matchups. Yeah. Like, it just didn't happen.
Although he did it regularly, though.
He did it. No, that was going to be my point. Not only did he do it regularly, well, first of all, I think Anderson Silva built his legacy slightly different from, like, a lot of like Conor McGregor, where he's jumping divisions and taking belts and doesn't really care. He built his legacy through winning the title and then defending the title for a record-breaking amount of time.
Yeah,
right.
There was sorry, David.
But once he lost it, he was still fighting like in what I would classify as super fights. Really, like they may not have been like main events all the time, but
like the Diaz fight, maybe.
Usually they were co-main, and usually like if we were in Brazil, there were huge fights. If there were, he fought like Daniel Cormier, if I'm not mistaken, right?
UFC 200.
Well, he was a late replacement, mind you. But point taken, like the Nick Diaz fight, same thing, right? Like these are not necessarily matchups for title contention, but yeah, back in the day in Anderson Silva's reign, there was this aura around him, like this guy's untouchable, who's going to beat him? And the talk of the day was always George St. Pierre versus Anderson Silva. It never ended up happening, but like the contendership queue, I think, was a lot more respected, even though both of them were just running through generations of contenders, and the matchup never actually happened. Yeah. Anderson did go up to light heavyweight a couple of times, actually, but I like how the UFC did it. Beat Forrest Griffin, and before that, you remember who?
James Irving,
exactly. He fought Michael Bisping, who's realistically, like for most of his career, fought light heavyweight, like realistically. So like
sure, oh yeah, but that's I agree with you, but that's
later. I know you fought him at the middleweight. I was just talking about as far as his title run. Like the James Irving fight, I thought was an interesting one, and it was a good way to do things because it's like you are the champion in the weight class below, but if you want to step up, you're another fighter. So we'll make an interesting matchup. James Irving, not the most highly ranked fighter, not exactly in title contention, but let's see how you do weight class up against a Forrest Griffin. You know what I mean?
And he did, and that's the thing. Anderson Silva, not a peep, not a word. Did it, no complaining. Now, granted, sponsorship money back then will make you take a
Burger King. He was getting that Burger King money.
Yeah, right. So it'll let you do things like that. You don't have to necessarily sit and wait to get to. I always say it. Get paid her. You know what I'm saying? But not a peep. Went in there, fought Sandman, beat him in a minute. Went back up, fought another guy in a defense. Went back down, beat the brakes off of Forrest Griffin, and I really thought they were going to do a Rashad versus Anderson fight, and then Leo Machida wins the belt, and he's not fighting another Black House guy. It's just not happening. So it was really like I really thought they were going to do the double champ thing with Anderson Silva, and boy, oh boy,
or the George thing, George St. Pierre going up to face him. There was a lot of talk of that too, but it's kind of interesting because we're here looking back on his legacy, and this may have, his language was kind of hazy towards the end, but this may have been Anderson Silva's final fight. Yeah. And another very, 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 very emotional moment in the cage afterwards, like we saw last week. And this one for me was as emotional as the Khabib one, where Uriah Hall's there. Yeah.
Nearly teared.
Me too. Yeah. Uriah Hall's there crying in the cage.
It was a bit much for me.
Apologizing. Yeah, that's his idol, man. But that Anderson Silva performance,
don't hate me, but you know what it reminded me of is, remember when Ric Flair had his last match at WrestleMania versus Shawn Michaels?
No, I don't. I don't watch theater. I don't watch sweaty theater for closeted homosexuals.
No, but I knew this was gonna happen. That's why I said don't hate me. But remember that like ending part where like Shawn Michaels
who did he fight? Ric Flair?
And and Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair they're doing their thing, and then he goes like, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then he like hits him. And it's kind of like in a weird way.
I feel like I remember that.
Yeah.
And don't hate on wrestling, man. That was my childhood,
that's
bro.
Like fake and scripted, though.
No, of course. But the idea I'm trying to get to.
Don't undersell Anderson Silva.
No.
Very real moment in the cage with like, do you remember when the big Krangler went in there against the Southside Strangler and he hit him 3 times with a chair and said, "It's your time, brother."
No, but the point I'm trying to make is that emotion of like being tasked to kind of, take Old Yeller to the back, get the shotgun out, and end it. You know what I'm saying?
It seemed like it.
Yeah.
It seemed like it. It seemed like Uriah Hall took no pleasure in what he had to do.
Yeah, you had to take Old Yeller to the back and
it's sad, man. Yeah. Technically, and in a lot of ways, Anderson Silva in this fight, the first couple rounds were very
are we into the review already, or
dude? See, you know what? We'll get to the boxing and the one championship after.
Okay.
Yeah, this was.
No, I'm just checking.
This was both very tentative. Both seemed like they were trying to force the other person into the lead, right? Because Anderson Silva notoriously not great on the lead, right? Usually goes on the lead when someone's been so flustered by his excellent counter striking that they're just paralyzed. But he was kind of forced onto the lead, and a lot of kind of muted offense from both of them early, a lot of low kicks. Uriah Hall's jab seemed like it was paying dividends, but Anderson just got impatient, overextended himself a couple of times, and that chin is just not what it used to be. Young Anderson Silva would have rolled with those shots. This one just caught flush, man.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing is that, like I said, he looked good for 40. The weird thing, the reason why he fought at 45 is because he still has skills. Like, it's not...
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's not...
Yeah, I wouldn't get into, like, a street fight with him. You know what I mean? Like...
I wouldn't get into any fight with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't go into a gym like, oh, who's this old guy? I think I'm going to take him.
Absolutely not, right? And he looked good, but the problem was, and we said in the preview, his durability is not the same. So if Uriah hits him with something hard, this can get ugly real quick, and that's what happened in the end of the third and kind of the start of the fourth.
And this was Anderson Silva of the legendary chin. Anderson Silva, who is excellent defensively. Even when you do hit him, nothing seems to land. He just rolls off the shots. So to see him get caught flushed like this, it was sad. And yeah, you guys raise a great point. Like, you're not going to want to mess with Anderson. He's still top of the world. But here's the thing, at 45 years old, as elite as he is, and he can beat up 99.999% of the human population, top 10 in the world in one of the most competitive weight classes, small things matter.
Yeah.
Small things, butterfly effect, man. Small things will cause a big difference.
And what was weird is Uriah Hall, like, right hook, I've never seen him throw that punch before.
Me neither.
And so, for him to do it like that, I mean... you're getting hit with somebody who's never thrown that punch, getting you then I think it's time let's end it, right?
No, I mean,
unless you're going to one or Bellator now, I don't want to see that. I just want to see him right off into the sunset, please.
And besides, like, he's got nothing to prove. You know what I mean? Like, I keep saying, his legacy is solidified. Something tells me he's not hurting for money. This is the guy who's been at the top of the game for 8 15 years. Like, how many people
More.
can say that?
He made his
Like,
UFC debut. Donnie alerted me to this fact. He made his UFC debut
As a Shudo champion, no? Or
Well, yeah, he came from the last organization he fought in was Rumble on the Rock, or like one of those
Cage Wars.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Cage Wars, yeah.
But here's the thing: he made his UFC debut at the age that Khabib's retiring. He had a long career in Pride before he even stepped into
he
the
was
UFC.
champion. He knocked out Carlos Newman with the flying knee.
That's right. Knocked out
Yeah.
Carlos Newton at the fight with Sakuraba. Lost to Ryo Chonin. So like
By the way, what a flying scissor heel look.
the best.
Oh my god, that was nice. But
One of the best subs of all time. But yeah,
But my thing is, like, he has nothing to prove, so I don't feel like he should be coming back for like a Bellator or any kind of, or like a bare knuckle boxing. Like,
Absolutely
nobody.
not.
God,
Absolutely not.
I feel like that. I don't want to say tarnish his legacy, but like, I mean,
tarnish his health,
that's-
man. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But what I would say though,
my GOAT.
sorry, go on.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that he's my GOAT. I mean, this fight, I don't really feel like I want to comment on it too much because, I mean, in the words of David, shouts out to Uriah Hall for getting the victory and being a professional and being able to withstand the I feel like he got outclassed in like the first round and being able to withstand and listening to his coaches and everything and figuring it out. But just for me, I just wanted to talk about how Anderson Silva is my GOAT because when I would watch highlights and then I got the pleasure to watch a few fights, they talk about athletes getting into the flow state. Like Michael Jordan, I believe when he played the Knicks, he did that little up and under and do you know what I'm talking about? Did that up and under.
It might have been
and it was a layup, and that was beautiful. That's the flow state. Barry Sanders, when he knew every Dallas Cowboy that was on the field and basically juked up the whole team. That's like when sports become metaphysical and you enter that flow state. That's what I see when I see,
a prime Anderson.
Exactly, a prime Anderson Silva, and like for me, that's my GOAT. And when we did the fight companion, I said for me it goes Anderson Silva, GSP, and Khabib, and then probably John Jones after that. But like that for me, that's my GOAT, and it hurt, but it was also I agree with David. I think he should ride off into the sunset. And maybe I don't know. Maybe look into coaching or something.
Yeah, I wanted to definitely, and I wanted to ask you guys because, like, we're thinking, there's a lot of negativity associated with how he's going out. Not negativity, but sad emotions, right? Yeah. So I wanted to ask you guys if you could pick one moment from Anderson Silva's career that either resonated with you emotionally or that was like particularly powerful to you. What do you think it would be?
Let's go around the room. Who wants to start?
The front kick. I don't even know who he fought, but it was just that front kick, like just hit him with that.
Vitor Belfort. Yep.
Was that okay? Was that what it? He like hit him? Just.
I've never seen that in my life.
Me neither. Like how do you pull that off? Like
it was
like that's what I think. That's when you like he literally looked like a spider, like just pow, like with the kick, like with his heel, like that one for me was like whoa, and then like that kind of showed me. What the sport really was, like what it meant to be like a fighter. When you can see an opening like that, like it's crazy for me.
David?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a complex one for me, and it can be a separate conversation about the evolution of MMA. Because, watching some of those highlights, they look amazing, and I get that they inspired the modern MMA, but a lot of the stuff that people were like, wow, back then, is stuff that happens on pretty much like almost like a weekly basis nowadays.
Don't know about that.
Yeah,
no, not necessarily like the highest of highs, but I would say like, I don't know. I just think like the level of MMA has changed.
But I get it. This is a guy who's sorry to cut you off, but
let him have his moment.
Yeah.
We're getting teary-eyed.
I was going to say, I like it, and my favorite moments would definitely, probably two moments would be the Forrest Griffin one. I mean, what a knockout. There's really nothing to say about that. And then also the tap out of Chael Sonnen. I think, like, in the first fight, beautiful. Because for a lot of times, people were like, this guy's so dominant. Can anyone really even step to him? I think this showed like a different side of Anderson Silva, and especially from a grappling perspective, because he's more known as a striker. So to see him pull something like that off his back, like I think that was incredible. But, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. The same moment. Actually, those. It's funny. Those two ones stuck out for me for largely the same reasons. Because like the Forrest Griffin fight for me was like, Forrest Griffin, highly respected striker, beat Shogun Rua, and he just made him look. It was just effortless. It was
silly.
And so for me, the Chael Sonnen one had significance. First of all, it brings me back to a very particular time in my life when like me and Max Lee, shouts out to Max Lee, were just training at Grant Brothers together, and he'd like, pick me up at the gym every single morning, and I'd be comically late, and he'd get pissed at me, and we'd just talk trash to each other back and forth while we were training 2-a-days every single day at that time in our lives. And like we just had this ongoing feud, because for me, Anderson Silva was like he was greatness. You look at him and you see greatness, and it's inspiring. You're like, wow, the ceiling is so high for what people can achieve in this sport. And we would just talk so much trash because Max bought into all the Chael Sonnen hype. And I remember that fight just having so much personally invested in it. Not just because I loved Anderson Silva so much, right? And I'm just like, here's this like God King in Anderson Silva, this man who is untouchable, just like
Cadillac of men.
It just Cadillac of a man. It just made no sense to me.
Yeah.
It just defied what I thought was possible. I'm like, how is this happening? It was just this moment for me where I was watching this fight, also because Max talks so much smack, but like, it was just.
And Chael talks so much smack.
So it was surreal for me. It was surreal. It was like seeing, Superman getting beaten up. Mm-hmm. It didn't make any sense to me. And it showed me like, man, if you can't be pretty, be gritty. Like Anderson just managed to pull out that last minute Hail Mary triangle and finish that fight, and it was so vindicating and inspiring. I remember just calling up Max and leaving him a voicemail where I'm just like, fuck you Max. and then for me the second Chael Sonnen fight was because there were still a lot of questions answered. Anderson Silva had that broken rib, or that's what he claimed. I'm inclined to take him at his word.
It's pretty confirmed.
And that second fight happened, and Chael just grounded him for the first round, mounted it, and I'm just like, was it not a fluke? Was it? And then he just that knee to the body was textbook. It just left no answers in his mind and in my mind. And yeah, for me, I have a lot of emotional attachment to those two fights, I think.
Yeah, man, there's so many moments. Jeez, I always say this: the first fight I ever watched, or at least one of the first fights that I can remember, 7 years old. Downstairs at the family PC, Carlos Newton versus Anderson Silva, flying knee knockout. Now, I didn't end up watching MMA forever from that point on. No, it was The Ultimate Fighter. I'll admit that 100%. But what a first foray into martial arts, I think, is cool. But underrated moment, though, I got to say this, is he's fighting Stephan Bonnar, and I get it. Stephan Bonnar, not the cream of the crop, one of his weaker matchups. By the way, I think people overuse that whole, he didn't fight the best competition argument. I think, he didn't.
He fought the best available at the time.
Yeah, right. Was it GSP?
Actually, mind you, there were some people in other organizations that people always had questions about.
Like Paulo Filho, I get it.
Paulo Filho, Hector Lombard at the time in Bellator, and then at 185 over in Strikeforce, we had our Luke Rockholds or Jacares, So there are those, I guess, but continue.
Yeah, sorry, but I think people. But anyway, so he's facing Stephan Bonnar, right? Stephan Bonner's pressuring him, and the guys at Black House are like yelling at Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva turns to the Black House guys. Who remembers this part? He turns to the Black House guys, says, "I got this." Stephan Bonnar throws a spin kick. Anderson Silva just calmly walks to the left, right. He walks to the right and just makes Stephan Bonnar miss with the spin kick to the body.
Puts such disdain for his opponents. I loved it. People were like, after the Weidman fight, like, he was clowning around. That's why he got caught. I'm like, Anderson Silva always clowns around. He behaves. This is why we love him. He's reckless in the face of danger. He puts his back up against the fence and invites you to come in and hit him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I do feel like that's eventually what kind of got him. I do think, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to be critical about what is a legend, so shouts out to Anderson Silva. But I do think that eventually he did get to a point where it was almost like he got like that was his appeal. His like it's almost like his counter fighting was like the main thing that he did, as opposed to he was never like. Sometimes he would set the tone, you know what I mean? Like sometimes he would be the aggressor, sometimes he would kind of like let you come to him. But I feel like towards the end, he definitely got a little bit more counter or reliant on, counter fighting. But still, like, as I said, a lot of the stuff we see today in like the most dynamic strikers, I think you can draw a straight line between like, Adesanya, John Jones, any of those guys. Like, even like what's it called? I wouldn't say GSP because they're a little bit different.
They're
but
contemporary.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of inspiration in guys now. I mean, we watched this card with like Kevin Holland. You can't tell me that all these huge black guys who are crazy at stand up didn't watch Anderson Silva grow up.
Izzy said it himself. I was a skinny black kid growing up, and I got inspired by Anderson Silva. He's like, here's this skinny black guy here who's doing it.
Anderson Silva is the reason I watched MMA. Just straight up.
I would say as well about him becoming over reliant in counter fighting. Like you said, I think the science of the game caught up to him a little bit and got more advanced. Yeah. Weidman was one of the first. Weidman was one of the first to employ really good feints, a really good double jab, and force Anderson Silva into those compromising positions where a lot of people would just show their hand right away and start swinging. And Anderson would be like, all right, good night, boom, Whereas Weidman was able to bait out the counters of Silva and then punish him for it. That win was no fluke, either of them.
And the other thing, too. The reason why parents can't beat their children is because they get older and kids also get bigger, so...
Yeah,
that's why.
Right, and I was gonna say,
I was like, Jeremy, where are you going with that one? But that actually works.
No, I was gonna say, like, we have to also keep in mind at that point, Anderson Silva was 39, right? Yeah. So, it's also how about just like I say this, we all understand Michael Jordan's wizard years don't count. We understand Kobe Bryant post-Achilles injury doesn't count. We understand Patrick Ewing on the Supersonics doesn't count. So why do we get this way with Anderson Silva? I think we all know what it was. He was too old.
That plays into it. I think if we're going to include, based on the decline of Anderson Silva, which is pretty prolific and pretty well documented, if we're going to discount it or not count it as heavily, I think we have to throw a couple of other names into consideration as well. Mm-hmm. We've got our Fedors.
Of course.
We've got our BJ Penns.
Of course.
Miguel Torres, right? These you don't remember what Miguel Torres was like.
No, but the problem with Miguel Torres is that like his decline was like at some point we just have to be like, nah, you just kind of lost it like with confidence because it was like 33. If I remember correctly.
I suppose, but...
but like, I do hear the point. I do hear the crux of the point. It's just that Miguel Torres, for me, is like...
All right, we can leave him out of this. Yeah. But even your Jose Aldos, you could argue, would need to be in that consideration. But I think that postscript consideration is, for me, I don't think everybody sees it this way. I think a lot of people are overly critical of, what Anderson Silva is doing in his later years. But at the same time, if we're going to say if you're being in contention for the number one, we've got to look at the time in 1993 where you lost a jiu-jitsu match at white belt. You know what I mean? Yeah. If we're deciding whether it's Anderson or John, does he deserve to be in the pantheon of MMA gods? Absolutely. He's in Valhalla.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there's no doubt that Anderson Silva is probably the most influential fighter in the UFC's history. I mean, I can't think of. Can you guys think of any more? Because
maybe Chuck, as far as influence. But he's
not
up
in
there.
the same way, man.
But what I would say the thing about Chuck was if a guy you needed to bring MMA to the mainstream,
it was Chuck.
It was Chuck, right? And then like I know it's a little early, but Khabib revolutionized the grappling game in a way that like you're seeing kids nowadays do the Dagestani handcuff, and you're like,
it's true. I think David's point was more, and correct me if I'm wrong, influential in the sense of like popularizing MMA, bringing it to the masses, inspiring people. You know what I mean? And I guess. Anderson, we've got the benefit of time to see the effects that this has had out. But probably I would be inclined to agree. Maybe it is Anderson. Yeah. Maybe there's some.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that he's like the most. I mean, I don't want to say most skilled, but I wouldn't say he's had the best, like most unblemished career or anything like that. I just think like even his epilogue, his last few fights, they were really good. He was still at a really high level, which like few fighters could ever get to. Like, let's just keep it a buck. Like Uriah Hall, even though I'm gonna be honest, like I feel like they, with all due respect, spoon fed a couple of those matchups to him, and they were kind of like sweetheart fight.
Uriah Hall was on a winning streak last time I checked. Right?
Uriah Hall's, but he's a good fighter.
Yeah.
But that's like an Anderson Silva. It wouldn't make sense for him to face. I don't know who's in the middleweight, who's more of a grappling intensive fighter.
Middleweight,
like
grappling intensive.
It's interesting because
Why
the
has
one
been coming to mind.
It's interesting
Maybe like a
because the
shoe
one
face?
grappler that I remember that I would say, "Oh, this is a good grappling matchup for Anderson Silva," was Derek Brunson. And look, say what you will, close match, could have been a robbery, could have not been, whatever. But Anderson did relatively well against them. So I think what it just came down to is a 45-year-old is not going to take the same shots that a 25-year-old can.
No.
And so if this is a guy who was going to be able to take Uriah Hall's left hook a little better, I mean, I had him up 3 rounds. Actually, no, 2 rounds because that end of the third was a little. But I had him up 2 rounds to 1 going into the fourth.
But not dominant
Agreed.
rounds.
But not
These were
dominant.
rounds that were edged.
Yeah. He was just enough. But so my whole point is that like I don't know if I can. I agree with it in principle. Like if you face a grappler against Anderson Silva's takedown defense at this stage of his career, a little suspect. But he doesn't seem to do worse against grapplers.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on the kind of grapplers. Because a lot of his early career was actually done against fairly high level grapplers, right? And if you remember his hands down style, which a lot of people were like, "What are you doing, keeping your hands down?"
Oh, by the way, shoot box. Let me
part of
just say, shoot box tried to change him, make him more of a hands-up kind of fighter. Stupidest decision.
Stupid decision. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, hands, especially because hands down was a gamble. It's like my hands aren't up to defend my face necessarily, but when these high-level wrestlers, and at the time it was thought that wrestling is going to be the number one thing in the sport. It's going to be dominant, right? Which to an extent it was, but like then Anderson Silva came in and said, "Yeah, my hands are down. They're closer to defending the takedown. So if your head movement's there, and your hands are low to defend the takedown, you can make it work." And he was the first one to kind of figure that out. And it may not have been replicated by as many people, but Anderson Silva made it work.
I mean, there was Izzy, there was Connor,
Yeah, Connor's hands down in a different kind of way.
Yeah, you're right. It's more of a bouncy kind of.
Anderson Silva is, I'm going to bait you to swing at my head, and Conor McGregor's more of, I'm going to pick at you until you lash out at me. But yeah,
I'll say this with Anderson Silva, he may not be the best. I've met number 4 on my list. He may not have been the best for me, but I think when he was going, there was no one far ahead above his peers. I even think in 2 weight classes than Anderson Silva.
Sure.
Right?
And
Other fights, or you want to?
sure, we can go into that. I just missed a piece of news that was announced last night. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but The Ultimate Fighter is back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No coaches
Who's going
announced.
to be the coaches?
They didn't announce it. They're just like March something. Ultimate Fighter is back.
They really wanted
So they
Habib
probably
and Conor.
Wait.
What's that?
They really wanted Habib and Conor.
I heard that.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
wanted it.
That would be fun,
It's
but
gonna
I
be
think that
2
would end up in
weights,
an
like
assault.
like bantamweight or.
Did they say that?
Yeah,
Yeah, they said it was
Middleweight and
2 weight.
bantamweight or something like that.
If they do 145, your boy does not have enough fight experience to make it happen.
See,
But Amir Sadallah won the Ultimate Fighter with 0 pro fights. Did you know that?
Yeah, that was interesting, and he was going to be okay too. And then
Amir was great. He just
Yeah.
ran into more athletic opposition, got beat by Johnny Hendricks, but got a soft spot in my heart for that guy. He's like a small Forrest Griffin. But
heart and grappling, man, it's crazy what it could do for you.
right. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, he armbarred CB Dalloway twice. Who was the favorite? So that's interesting. I'll be watching. For a while I was kind of tired of the Ultimate Fighter. I'm like, but now I got a little bit of nostalgia for it. I'll go back and watch.
And plus, we have so many fighters retiring. I mean, we have Khabib, Silva, Cormier. We have a lot of like the top. Even I don't think there's more than 5, maybe 2 more years of John Jones. Like I think like that show is coming to
Run its course.
soon.
This is the final. This
Run its course.
is the final chapter.
Yeah, man, we're definitely on the final chapter for sure. So I think like it would be good to start, watching some of these guys early who are gonna be fighting. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to watch Dana White's Contender Series personally.
I like it. I think it's entertaining. It's more MMA, and more MMA is good, and there's some interesting fights on there. I find I enjoy it.
I like it for the exact opposite reason I like the Ultimate Fighter. Like I don't like the whole reality show aspect of it, where it's like they're in the house and definitely playing up for the camera. I think when it's done well, the Ultimate Fighter can be really good, and I think it's a test of character. But I also don't like when they're contrived, like they were in the later seasons.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Whereas the Contender Series, it's go in there and fight. Go in there and fight.
Is it just?
Yeah, but I like the almost tournament style of the Ultimate Fighter, which you don't really have in the Contender Series. You know what I mean? Like where you're in a group and it's almost like you're fighting within. I don't want to say a round robin, but it's almost like a knockout tournament where.
Oh, it's not even a tournament in Contender Series.
Yeah.
It's not even a tournament.
It's not even. It's just one fight.
Yeah.
It's a one-time event. Yeah.
I do like that aspect of the Ultimate Fighter where there's the personalities, and I do like tournaments, and they're kind of like a forgotten thing in MMA at this point. Is it just me, or did it feel like the earlier episodes, the earlier seasons of Tough were a little more? The episodes felt longer and more entertaining. Is that just me?
Because
it felt like there was more content going on.
There was more in there.
I watched the season, and he fought on this card, and we can talk about it later. But I watched the Crochet Boss season, the Mo Green season.
I never seen that one.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, actually. Like
I didn't watch the newers.
You mean? Can we talk about the sloppy heavyweight fight that happened?
I mean, can we go bottom down, like touchy feely?
Oh yeah, Bryce Mitchell, thoroughly
Okay,
surprising, thoroughly entertaining.
I just want to say the Bryce Mitchell fight. I wasn't impressed personally.
By who? By Bryce?
Yeah. Personally.
David,
and that's not just like he's not technically good. I know he is.
Square up, we're fighting.
Especially
No, I wasn't impressed either. I didn't really find it
the way the commentators were like jizzing over this guy, man. You would thought like he was Khabib 2.0, but like it didn't play out that way.
He fought a great fight.
Touchy-feely's a good fighter.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
he's not like. Pardon?
Sorry, go on.
Fine. You can say. Sorry, David. Can I jump in here really quick?
Yeah, please.
You can say he fought a great fight because I learned a lot about MMA in terms of like how you don't want to give up control when you're on top. I learned a lot about grappling watching this fight. So yeah, you can say he fought a great fight, but you can no longer say like it becomes a fight. You have to come over to our side and say it's a sport because this was like a sport in its. It
was a classy win.
It was a classy win. Like it was a sport in every aspect of the word. Like I did not feel that these guys were trying to stop one another.
He absolutely was. That's your unfamiliarity with jiu-jitsu.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
I would say that this is a completely legitimate way of fighting, right? It's still a fight.
I just feel like this was a sport. Like it wasn't very.
I disagree. I think Bryce Mitchell was, first of all, the wrestling was on point. I've never seen anybody be able to out-grapple Andre Fili to that extent, and he's someone who's fought like a middling to fairly high level of competition, and for the most part had some competitive fights. Had a competitive fight with Charles Jourdain. I think. Bryce Mitchell timed that counter overhand left very well, found his way into clinches with through single legs and blast doubles well. I thought he progressed through the positional hierarchy beautifully. I thought he landed some hard shots in side control, and he was hunting for submissions. He really was. And I think, what is a submission if not an attempt to finish a fight?
Look, let me play the middle, although I'm more inclined to kind of be on Jeremy's side. And the reason why is I think it was a good character win. I think there was a great display of grappling here. I just wouldn't say that Bryce Mitchell's ready for somebody in the top 10 just yet. And B,
those are killers, man.
You take a look at the featherweight division. Jesus Christ, you want to put him up against any of those guys?
I don't know, but all I have to say, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but all I'm saying is that this was a dominant win. This was dominant. Andre Fili was barely in this fight for any second of it.
Yes. But
this was sheer dominance, and I think this is a perfectly legitimate way of fighting, and we need to start accepting that. Especially,
you know me, I'm a proponent of grapplers' respect. Like,
I'm not hating against the grappling. Like,
this is a different style of grappling
this
too.
As hating against the grappling. I'm not hating against the grappling, but I'm saying that when I think of guys in the top 10 and champion mixed martial artists, I didn't see either of these guys being that. I just felt like these guys just came to win their sporting endeavor. I felt that they came to win their athletic endeavor.
I don't know if I agree, and I would say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that.
I would say
I think
that
Bryce Mitchell. Sorry, go on.
No, I would say grappling is something, because who knows? I'm not exactly saying Bryce Mitchell is going to be the next champion of the UFC, but I do think that grappling is one of those things where it's hard to tell how good you're at it until you see against another grappler, right? You can be like, because there's something called that they refer to as invisible jiu-jitsu, right? You can say, oh well, this technique's done very well. This transition was good. I love how he passed into mount and did this and X, Y, and Z. But like, there's the small things that you can only feel when you're in the position that actually are indicators of a level of skill. And who's to say? Who's to say, right? I doubted Khabib at every single stage of his career. I thought he was going to run into tougher opposition. I was wrong. I'm not comparing Bryce to Khabib. All I'm saying is that for me, this was interesting because I feel like for a while, the kind of grappling we've seen in MMA has been either very defensive or very like wrestling. I'm going to pursue half positions and punch you from half guard, punch you from as you try and reclaim, stand up. And that's okay. It's a thing. I enjoy that as well. But I've always wanted to see the development of jiu-jitsu that Chris Weidman brought, where it's like, I'm a very good wrestler, but I'm going to pass through the positional hierarchy of jiu-jitsu, try and secure mount, try and secure a submission, and punch you along the way. You know what I mean? And this, to me, was that. Not at a high level as Chris Weidman.
Well, I don't think it was as active as Chris Weidman either. I remember Chris Weidman's shot selection. Was it Khabib level? No, but he at least was a lot more active with the punch, with the ground. And Bryce Mitchell was not. Yeah, sorry, David. Go ahead.
That was the frustrating part because his wrestling was good. His jiu-jitsu was clearly a level above. His striking was actually, I don't think it was good, honestly.
I don't think it was more technical, but it was more effective.
It was enough to beat Andre Fili.
Yeah.
His striking, he was winning the striking exchanges, in my view.
But like barely, though. But not to be a hater, but like barely. Like
I'm inclined to agree. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
They were clearly,
I'm inclined to agree. They were clearly...
They were there to serve a greater purpose, which was to secure the takedowns, which is okay. That's what Khabib did his whole career, right?
Fine.
Khabib did that his whole career.
And when you say comments like that, it makes it hard not to compare him to Khabib because, like, that's Khabib's style of fighting. And I just feel like, once it did hit the floor, once he did get the takedown, for me, I just felt like, I don't know.
I would have liked to see more activity with the hands.
I would have liked to see a little bit more. I would have liked to see a little bit more domination because, that's his thing. That was his thing, the jiu-jitsu. And to be fair, Andre Fili fought a great fight. It was, I don't want to say he was outmatched, but it was clear he was the underdog coming into that fight. So.
I think outmatch is reasonable.
Yeah, so I would actually disagree with Michael because I do want to see Bryce Mitchell fight somebody in the top 10, maybe not top 5 because this division is stacked. But like a Shane Burgos,
my whole thing is that Let's take a look at the top 10.
Maybe
I can pull it up, and I'll tell you right now.
Those are some interesting matchups. How about if we want to see some fun grappler on grappler action? Maybe Makwan Amirkhani.
He's not ready for it. Oh wait,
he's not top 10.
That's okay.
Because I don't think Amirkhani is going to starch him, but it'd be interesting to see grappler versus grappler. Let's see how high his grappling ceiling is.
But I feel like we know the answer to that question, and the answer is that once it hits the floor, it's game over because Bryce Mitchell, he excels at jiu-jitsu.
Well, as does Makwan Amirkhani. That's his thing.
I totally agree, but I think don't you feel like Bryce Mitchell's jiu-jitsu is like a level above or
above Makwan Amirkhani? I don't know. I suspect not.
Okay.
I think whoever gets on top first will actually be better, will control them better than.
Interesting.
I don't think Amirkhani's bottom game is good enough to stop Mitchell's top game and vice versa.
Interesting.
But that's what my mind thinking. It's just, look, if I pull up the top 10 right now, right? And we take a look at that top 10 and you tell me, does Bryce Mitchell beat any one of these guys? The answer is no.
Pull it up just because I'm curious.
Okay, I'm going to take the UFC rankings just because.
What about could he beat some world champions in ONE FC?
Right, do your impression.
The answer is yes.
Michael Chavello here. Could he beat world champion Colby Northcutt, Sage Northcutt's sister? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Stefano, you're wild, man. There's actually something wrong with you, man.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I'm gonna do that thing that cuts off to the what do you call it? There we go.
To the screen cap.
Yeah. All right, so featherweight. Boom, Alexander Volkanovski. We're not
Okay,
gonna
Bryce
talk
Mitchell is now ranked at number 15. I think that's unchanged from the weekend.
about- Yeah. Okay, so obviously not Max Holloway. I think we all.
Let's look at those ranked above him. Edson Barbosa, I'm going to say no. Ryan Hall, I think, would have a clear jiu-jitsu advantage. Dan Ige could hurt him badly.
Shane Burgos is interesting. I'd say no. I'd say Shane Burgos still wins, but it's interesting.
Interesting.
That's a tough matchup. I don't know.
Maybe
If it hits the
Sadiq.
floor, I don't know.
My
I
bad.
think Sadiq Youssef or Arnold Allen might be an interesting matchup.
I think Sadiq starches him, to be honest with you.
You think so?
And I think Arnold Allen has something for him.
Yeah, I don't think, I think Sadiq's stand-up is too good.
Well, here's the reason I'd like to see him against Arnold Allen. If you remember the Mads Burnell fight with Arnold Allen, until Arnold Allen caught him in that power guillotine, and he seemed susceptible to being ground out against the cage and taken down repeatedly. He didn't seem to have many answers for Mads Burnell, and then he caught, I'm not going to call it a fluke, but it was a very rare submission and very conditional upon the position that Mads Burnell's head happened to be in. So Arnold Allen might be that mark in the top 10 that we're looking for.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, for the most part, you're right. I don't see him. Well, we'll see.
All right. So Arnold Allen. Jeremy Stevens is interesting because it's about confidence. If Jeremy Stevens,
You know damn well who I am.
Right? If Jeremy Stevens' confidence is up there, then I think Jeremy Stevens has all the skills in the world to beat him. And then if it's not, then I can definitely see a world in which Bryce Mitchell gives him some trouble, though.
And the only thing I want to say, because if I'm not mistaken, he's only had like 2 or 3 fights in the UFC, right?
Bryce?
I think it's 5.
yeah.
I think he's had 5
I think it's
fights.
about 5 fights, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. I
So
don't even
he's
know.
had time. He's had time.
Yeah, Jeremy Stevens, the thing is, he's one of those guys where you know what he's going to do. And if you tailor a game plan to beat him and you stick to it in a disciplined way, you'll probably end up beating him. But you have to fight a certain way to beat him at the same time because he's very dangerous.
Yeah, and then there's no way he's beating Josh Emmett, Calvin Kattar, Chan Sung Jung, Yair Rodriguez. It's a beat. Are you kidding me?
I think he could beat Max Holloway. No, I'm not
What?
serious. I'm not serious.
I was like, wait, what?
I was like, the pause that
Everybody looked at him like he was like wearing like
That was
a friggin' I don't know.
when I called David, I felt a lot more. I felt a lot.
Don't do that. We're not repeating that.
I felt
And
a lot.
we're also cutting that
I was just
out.
gonna say I felt a lot closer to being jumped when I said that. When I said that Bryce Mitchell would beat Max Holloway.
Yeah, like nah. I was like, whoa, what? Like the way
Everybody looked at him like he had poo on his forehead, or like feces on his forehead.
Settle down, Junior. You guys gave me this look like, yeah.
Just 2 things. Bryce Mitchell has a degree in economics, which is weird. And number 2, why?
How ugly were those
just
camo shorts?
The camo shorts.
Ugly.
I like the camo shorts. I love the camo shorts, like stylistically. And, I get it. Like, he's representing where he's from. But the
Arkansas.
marketing, like, give it a break, UFC.
I want some camo shorts. Those camo shorts look like Reebok took the wallpaper at Bass Pro.
My God. At some point, I think Bryce Mitchell said, like, I wasn't sure whether they would let me wear the camo shorts. So I was just going to wear them and see if anybody went to say something about it, saying, like, they were going to have to come take these damn shorts off me. Like, give it a break.
Don't tread on me.
Give it a break.
No
Come on.
step on
I see
snack.
what you guys are doing it, and it's nasty. Cut it out. Like, come on. And he's anyway. Forget it. Let me chill out. You can clearly trying to see, like, they're trying to market him in a specific way, and for me, it's just like.
Oh, you
that's
want
fine,
me? You want
but,
me to
like,
point it out? You want me to point it out because I can.
The
I can.
redneck community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shouts out to them though. They need representation.
Hilarious.
They're, like,
Shouts out to the
showing
redneck
tweets from, like,
community,
Theo Von. Like, shouts out to them. They need representation. But
The
like,
swamp people.
like, let him fight somebody first. Like, you can't be co-maining against Andre Feely and then be hyping him like his next two, like Khabib, when who's he fought? With all due respect. Shouts out.
Oh, this is
to
how
them.
you build up a star, though. I like it.
You got
But
like this. So.
moving on.
Kevin Holland and
Oh no, we had one before that.
Green and,
Oh
and Hardy.
jeez.
So this was everything that I hoped for. It was sloppy. It was sweaty.
really
Both competitors.
wasn't that
Both
sloppy.
competitors. Hold on. Both competitors were breathing heavy after a minute and a half. Maurice Green made some poor choices. It was wonderful. It was a great heavyweight fight. It was the kind of fight Mike loves it. Mike loves heavyweight fighting. Mike is a heavyweight apologist. Anytime I try and bring up anything critical about heavyweight,
More so a sympathizer, but okay.
apologist. So
Sympathizer.
that's actually worse. That's worse.
I know.
Listen, man.
A
I don't.
terrorist sympathizer is worse than a terrorist apologist.
Listen, man. Like, I don't expect an offensive lineman to come out here and run a 440. Like, you shouldn't expect these guys to have like killer cardio.
Yeah,
and, like,
he's expecting Cain Velasquez, the second coming of fame, Cain Velasquez, and all the heavyweight division.
Is it too much to ask? Is it too much to ask that I ask that you turn up in shape for an athletic endeavor? Is that too much to ask?
Dude,
Greg Hardy looked big.
Do your job.
And you know the thing, and we can probably get into like the technical so we can get into the technical aspects of this fight later. But man, Crochet Boss must be the most frustrating. Like, maybe up there with Stefan Struve, frustrating like big guy to watch fight because it's just like, what are you doing?
Straight shots, please. Yeah, fight long. Straight shots. I gave up on Crochet Boss a long time ago. I'm like, I watched he had a couple fights in Glory, and it was just I'm like, oh, this guy's a Glory fighter. You watch it, and it's just sloppy nonsense. He's just spamming left, right, while marching forward and squaring up his stance, and then folding into the clinch. I'm like, okay.
I agree. If you're a fighter, you should have your technique should be on point. I just have qualms with your like whole breathing heavy. Like, they're 250-pound guys. Like, fighting for 5 minutes. Fighting for 5 minutes. It's hard to fight. It's hard to fight for 5 minutes.
I'm sorry. Did they not read the job description where this is a 15-minute fight and you're supposed to show up in shape?
Here's the problem, because we train with Karin.
I was gonna say, like, you have heavyweight guys.
No, but
you know what?
The
Karin
difference is
gas.
Karin doesn't gas. He doesn't gas.
Yeah.
He doesn't even gas for a welterweight. Like, he has a tank.
Oh my God, his ego is gonna be, oh yo Rob, you know, like, listen to what they said about me on the podcast, you know.
No, but the whole point I'm trying to make is I think Stefano's
has expectations for elite level athletes in the premier organization in the world to turn up in shape. It's not that hard.
With all due respect to Karin, he's no Greg Hardy in terms of strength and
no, of course. In terms of the other things like strength, speed, like explosiveness, no. But the thing about that Karin has, and I'll admit it here, is that he's got probably
sexy butt. No, what? Go on.
What?
Okay. What does Karin have?
He's got a gas tank. I thought we were on the same page. He's got a gas tank, and I think the problem is that every once in a while you get these heavyweight guys. Stipe's one of them. Cormier had it.
Kane, Verdum, Krokop, Fedor. Wait, what's this?
Hold on.
Sorry, do the top end of the division actually have cardio?
Hold on. Time out.
Cyril Gahn
has cardio, but
don't do that.
Hold on. Time out. The thing about
Can I just say one thing?
The thing about
before you go
Verdum is, hold on, let me explain this because it's a point that I need to really express here.
Here on the leg kick, we're always 3 sentences away from going to Cyril Gahn.
Yeah, no. Okay,
if he doesn't come on the podcast,
I can make it happen. I think I'm gonna send an email to his management team. But anyway, okay. I think the problem with a lot of these heavyweight guys is not necessarily the cardio itself; it's that they don't know how to properly elongate their what they have.
Elongate. Go on, sorry.
Go on. You said elongate.
It's my fault. They don't know how to properly space their fight style out for wars because they're so used to knocking people out in 2 minutes in the regional scene that they get here. They're meeting guys who are just as good as them, and then they have to kind of figure that style out. And you see the guys who end up figuring it out because, hey, people forget, Stipe gassed against Stefan Struve and lost. That was a thing that happened. Like, Cormier had to learn how to fight, right? In Strikeforce against Josh Barnett. There were periods of that fight where he gassed.
Well, you have to gassed? Cormier put on a stupendous performance.
Yeah, but there was moments where he laid and prayed a little bit. No. Right?
What's wrong with laying and praying?
What it is an indication that you've gassed out in that situation.
Excuse me, you're talking to a man who makes a fighting career out of laying and praying, okay? And never once have I gassed.
Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is that, like, these guys have to figure it out, right? Now, in Maurice Green's case, definitely a guy who's frustrating, definitely a guy who makes a lot of technical errors that you want to get better. In Greg Hardy's case, I don't think it's going to happen for him because, well, he's getting older and he already has an asthma problem. So, okay.
USADA approved.
But But when it comes to guys like, again, Tanner Bozer, Cyril Gahn, Spivak.
Spivak, that's funny. He
right?
gasses.
He gasses, but like these are guys who, like, you can tell will figure it out. So I think this indication is not fair.
Heavyweight sucks. Let's just come out and say it. Heavyweight sucks.
All right.
Mind you, I did like that rising jab uppercut.
That was nice.
He clearly carries some power in his hands, which makes me feel even worse for his ex-spouse. So
yeah, no, that's what I thought. Like when he had him up against the fence, like I was like, man, this guy has punched women before. So.
Let's hope Vic didn't hear that.
So yeah, fuck that guy. But still, like he does look like a big boy, though. I'll give him that.
He almost missed weight.
It's funny how mixed martial artists hate. Well, I don't know. I don't know why.
It's funny how mixed martial artists hate people who beat their wives.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't even pay any mind to that.
Women beaters. Don't get that. We love women.
I don't know why I'm saying mixed martial artists when it's really just you. Haven't really met any others, but like Stefano hates. Maybe he's speaking for the mixed martial arts community. There's all this hate for heavyweights, but like when it comes to boxing, people love the heavyweight fights.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Because listen. Boxing, the reason is, and it's the same thing in boxing, the heavyweight division is mostly bad, and then there's a few glimmering periods in history where it's good. And a lot of the classical heavyweight division, like back in the day, like Rocky Marciano, like Floyd Patterson, like
the heavyweight division is in a golden era right now in boxing.
It is. But these are rare, these golden eras in heavyweight. They're far and few between. And I think we're heavyweight kind of the vintage era of heavyweight, like I said, with like Floyd Patterson, Rocky Marciano, and like Ezra Charles and people like that. The reason why that was such a big, prolific era was at the time, heavyweights were little. Their heavyweights at the time were like would have been fighting middleweight today,
And so like you really like that really was. Sorry to cut you off, but it really was kind of shown in this fight and on this card when you had a 6'7" guy fighting a 6'5" guy as a heavyweight, and even like the middleweight fight. I think there was a fight on this card. I'm just looking at it.
Kevin Holland.
Man. Yeah, the Kevin Holland fight, where Kevin Holland is like 6'5" or 6'4" or something, and the other guy is like 6'3", and it's kind of like you guys are fighting at 170. So yeah, definitely.
No, they were fighting at 185.
185. Wait, no, they weren't.
Yes, they were. One of them was a last minute replacement, and the white guy, he was actually normally a 170 fighter. That's what must be what you're thinking of because he weighed in at 182. But yeah, it was a middleweight fight.
Yeah.
All right, weird. It says welterweight, yeah, but no. My point is that the heavyweight, they keep getting bigger and bigger, and even like the heavyweights of the past, like Krokop was like what 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, Krokop was a fairly he was a fairly undersized. Even Fedor was a small heavyweight, right?
Yeah, like these guys weren't huge. Even like Brock Lesnar was like what 6'5", and
yeah, but like, Brock Lesnar was also 6'5" wide.
Yeah,
but no, Brock Lesnar would still be big now. He was kind of like a Greg Hardy-esque. Way more explosive, which is crazy to say.
Oh, I want to see that fight, Greg Hardy versus Borg Laser.
I do see that fight. I do want to see that fight. But I've said my piece.
I think we've given this fight enough attention. What do you guys think? Mike, you want to talk more about Greg Hardy's technical developments? He's under Rashad Evans now.
Well, he did make developments, but not really. No, I don't.
Yeah, it's like it's classic heavyweight where every single exchange doesn't really connect to the next. It's like, okay, now we're doing this.
You know what I would like to see, because this is what Cyril Gahn does really well. He pressures you up, makes you go left or right somewhere, and then hits you with something hard as a sweeping weapon.
Sure, yeah, nice hurting technique.
I think that would really serve Greg Hardy dividends. Okay, now I'm done.
So,
but that's like, I love how we're giving him props for like really like basic striking.
No,
Thank
exactly.
David's on my side.
That's
my
exactly
man.
the problem.
David's on my side,
That's exactly why I didn't want to do this.
Mike, for Mike, the bar's set so low that you could be like, well, Mike's over here like, Cyril Gahn didn't cross his feet when he was walking forward. Not Cyril Gahn, sorry. Greg Hardy,
I did not.
Maurice Green, he threw a leg kick, and you know what? He missed, and he came back to his stance. That was really exceptional. Come on, guys.
Look at the way his back fits on the 45. Really, really well done.
It's like how Mike talks to his students at York. You know, that's the level of like technical sophistication we're holding them to at heavyweight here. Anyways,
don't compare my students to these guys. Come on.
Don't compare your students to Greg Hardy. You're right; they're far more technical. Anyways,
and far more.
They've beaten far fewer women.
Yes. That was with. Okay, next fight because we gotta get through this. We gotta get through this and get to that.
I don't think there's a ton to say about this fight other than the fact that this guy was a late minute replacement. I was really excited to see Kevin Holland against Murad. I forget his name, but. Uzbekistani fighter with phenomenal boxing, and he ended up falling out. And I'm like, who the heck is this guy who looks like, his hair looks like ramen noodles? But the guy had an interesting karate stance.
Threw an axe kick. That was interesting.
Threw an axe kick right off the bat. And I think, to Kevin Holland's credit, it's always a good idea when you have someone that you haven't been preparing for on the feet. You don't know what their strikes are going to look like. He just threw that cross, switched stances, and came straight into a body lock and took it to the ground. And this guy just looked like a fish out of water. And the finish came when I think Kevin Holland had the back body lock, and he kicked out the rear leg. And this guy, Kevin Holland, just collapsed on this guy's head and looked like he might have been paralyzed for a second. He wasn't, but he had some kind of a neck injury. And
I'm glad the kid's okay.
The kid's okay. Well, not paralyzed, but who knows if he's okay.
Yeah, no, this one was one of those scary fights where, it didn't look like much, but I don't know, just the way people reacted afterwards, it was kind of like, it could have gone way, way, way worse. So hopefully he's okay, but, you don't want to see anybody face a neck injury. I don't know why. I would almost rather, and I was saying this yesterday when watching the fight, I would almost rather an injury anywhere else, maybe apart from my brain, than my neck. You know what I mean? Like,
it affects your mobility.
That's one of those things you can't replace.
I've had neck injuries and they're bad. They're debilitating. But it's like one of the reasons why this was okay. You remember that video that made the rounds, a viral video where it's like a street fight?
The kid, yeah.
And he tries to suplex the other kid and then ends up falling right on his neck. And there's rumors that kid died or something. I don't know if it's true, but it's like when you have that much weight, combined weight, both of your weight plus the momentum of the throw collapsing onto your neck, it's not pretty.
And you're not prepared for it too. Like, at least if you're facing this way, like, then it's you're okay. But if you're turned this way, or it's over. Like, and but I'm glad. At least it looked like he was moving his legs. Apparently, he's good. People said he was 100% okay.
It could be like a stinger. Like I used to have stingers. It's like nerve damage in your neck, and you get your neck gets put in a compromising position, or you get hit, and you just get like this surging rush of just hot. It feels like you're on fire from your neck down all the way down one of your arms. It's the worst. I had it before one of my fights. I fought with it. It was terrible.
You got slammed or something?
Okay, so what happened? I was going to go do a double leg on one of my training partners in training camp before a fight. He moves out of the way, and I go head first into the wall. Boom! My head turns, and all of a sudden, I just collapsed to the floor, and it was just like fire, just whoosh, all the way down my nerves.
I feel what you're saying. Yeah, like sometimes I'll hit somebody wrong, like maybe in warm-up drills. Like it actually usually happens every warm-up drill before a game. Like you just hit somebody, and then like maybe just that first hit, that didn't sound severe as yours, but like you just feel that sting. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's not fun.
People out there, wrestlers, anyone, strengthen your neck and your traps if you want to prevent this. It's essential. Necks and traps. Get a neck harness.
Increase the cylinder of your neck so that way your head doesn't move as much and therefore your nerves don't.
Also prevents brain trauma to an extent because there's more stability and your head's rattling around in your skull less.
Right.
So win-win.
I thought it was weird.
Sorry, go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I thought it was weird that Kevin Holland was calling out Adesanya after this fight. That's an interesting matchup.
Adesanya's like, dude, you just fought a last-minute replacement from the regional circuit. Sit down. I'm wearing a Koski pants. Get out of here.
Yeah, but he's shooting his shot, and let's be honest, he's been absolutely smoking guys. Like, he's not had like a competitive fight yet in the UFC.
The one time he faced somebody ranked was Thiago Santos, and he got murdered.
True. Thiago Santos of beating John Jones fame, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk crap about the guy for calling out Izzy because shoot your shot. You got to have that self-belief where you believe you can take on anyone. But
I'm just saying it's easy to do
I'm
it to
the
Joaquin
greatest.
Buckley and, so and so, but like, and there's a reason why there isn't a 15, 14, 13, shall I go on, beside his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Oh, by the way, I heard an interesting Bellator matchup that was announced that I forgot to mention. Just a funny one, because I was going to say there's levels to the game, and it made me think of Corey Anderson, and it made me think about how he's going to be fighting Melvin Manhoef.
What?
Right? 40-something-year-old Melvin Manhoef against Corey Anderson.
What?
So, Bellator, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I was just looking up what's it called, Holland's record. I think he's like on a 5-fight win streak or something like that. That's what, 5-fight win streak. So he should definitely be fighting somebody ranked next, definitely. And we'll see what he does after that. I don't know if he's ready for a title shot, but he beat, what's that guy's name? Joaquin Buckley, that everybody's like going crazy about, who just had that flash knockout. He beat Darren Stewart, who's a good fighter. So I don't know.
That was two impressive performances.
Wait a second, he already fought Darren Stewart? I was really looking forward to that fight.
Yeah, I think he did.
Damn, I missed it? God.
Darren Stewart with the funniest corner team in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Get him! Get on him! Get him! Hit him!
Dude,
Hit him harder down in...
One of the best things I like about this Apex is you get to hear the corner and how stupid, like, what's her name? Irene Aldana's corner? Oh,
you have to go. 4th round against Holly Holm. You have to go. Oh, I thought I was supposed to come. Now I'll start going. Brilliant.
All right. Did you guys want to talk about the Thiago Moises Bobby Green fight?
Yeah. Robbery.
I have some
Robbery.
notes. May I? Because this was
Okay, I thought I was like, I wasn't sure if you guys were gonna agree with me. I was like, I kind of disagree. Like,
I disagreed. Now, mind you, one thing Bisping said, and some of these things are hard to quantify unless you're in there. He said Green out-volumed him, but the harder shots that were landed were clearly Thiago Moises's. So maybe when you're there, you just hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Apex, for some reason, you can hear it, Sorry, go Dave.
I was going to say, I had it 1, definitely for Santos, 2, definitely for Green, 3
was
definitely definitely not Santos, Moises, not Santos. So yeah, I'm thinking Thiago, but 3 definitely for Moises. So
you thought
I
it was
felt
justified?
Pardon, sorry, go on?
You thought it was a good decision then?
I thought it was a good decision, and I actually thought Bobby Green went in there kind of arrogant, if I'm being honest.
Oh no, he definitely did.
That's
to
not
be honest, though, that's Bobby Green.
Yeah.
Like that's how he fights.
And I respect that, but he thought he was going to clearly outstrike Thiago Moises, and he didn't. And that's what made him lose this fight. I feel like I hate saying if his hands were up, but I feel like if he had a different game plan and had gone about it a little bit differently, then I don't know, he would have had an easier fight.
Here's where I liked this, because what I saw in this fight, and this is one thing that I look for in a fight that I love, I saw adaptations from both of these guys.
Yeah.
So I saw Green changing his game plan. Early on, you had Moises just come out and start blasting those low kicks and then going high, just getting on Green early because he can be a bit of a slow starter. And I like that. And then when Green came in, he was throwing largely the same combination, just adjusted the timing of it, but he was getting caught. He tried throwing that dart right hand where he throws that right cross, switches into southpaw, and then throws a hook behind it. And Moises was circling out and catching him with that. He's got a nice, tight counter right hook that he doesn't throw like an overhand. It's like a traditional boxing hook where it's like on a 45 and it's just boom, right? So that was nice. And then Green adapted, man. Green adapted. He switched to southpaw originally, and then the counters didn't seem to be there anymore. For Moises, he was the leg kicks and the counters kind of evaporated. Green started stepping on that front leg and then using that to fall into that cross left hook, and he started landing it. There were a couple of cool defensive adjustments he made. I don't know if you guys spotted this, but he threw like a cross left hook cross, fell into another stance, into a shoulder roll immediately. So when that counter came, he just rolled off of it. And it was just, he uses the shoulder roll so well. I'm a big Bobby Green fan. What else do I have here?
Stefano, can you show everybody your book that you're like...
It's not the one that says world fucking domination on it, but...
Sorry. I should have switched over to the other camera angle. Go ahead.
This one? Here's my book, my big book of notes. I have one that says world fucking domination on it, but, what else? Sometimes I wish I didn't write like a doctor, but Excellent counters. Moises was adjusting the timing of the counter late, and that he was able to find it. I thought the early takedown was good for Moises. I thought he should have forced the wrestling a little more. He started to land his combinations more in the third round when he started mixing in just level change and then coming up, because I think he caught Green with a punch in the eye, and Green stopped being able to see out of one of his eyes. So Moises just mixing.
Is that the COVID?
It is the Rona. Green, a couple things he does well as well. Sorry if I'm rambling for too long. I was really excited to talk about this fight. He'd pop his cross, not like a power punch, but almost like a jab. Just catch him with the end of it, pull back, and hit on the third beat. So he'd go one, pull back, Moises would swing and miss, and then he'd come back in with his own combination. Lovely stuff. Nice cross. Or a wide hook after it. And who saw the leg lock attempts in these?
Okay, so that's where I would say that I was very impressed with the judges giving it to Green. Giving it to Moises, because gone are the days where if you land a takedown, even no matter how active you are from the bottom, you lose the fight.
Yeah.
Right? Gone are the days where that happens. So I think it does go to show the evolution, at least in the way judges are looking at fights. And that's good. I just think that this is not the fight to be doing that. This was for me. I had Green 1, 2, and even I get it. He came strong.
He was getting bloodied up in that third round.
Yeah, I get it. Moises came on strong, but it wasn't like the early going was going well for Moises either. So,
early he was doing when he had Moises pushed up against the fence, and he was just pot shotting him from there, body head. That was beautiful. I like that. Shoot down low and then come back upstairs with that lead hook.
So it's not like Green didn't have his moments in the third either. I get it though. I understand it. I just think that robbery was maybe a push. I was just being a little ridiculous, but I just think that this was not the fight to try to be cute with the judging, right?
And this is an honest question. First of all, I just want to bring your guys' attention to the leg lock from the back body lock. That is some high-level stuff. Mm-hmm. You have the body lock, and then you fall through underneath and attack that outside ashigarami, and then you had the cross-body ankle lock. Lovely stuff. And he was close to finishing the fight. Green was grimacing and ended up having to, once you clear your knee line, once your knees go above your opponent's knees, you're out. And Green was able to secure that, but... Man, do you count a close submission attempt like that as you would a near fight-ending strike?
See, I think they did, and that's why, I think more judges should do it. I just think that this wasn't the fight for it because
you like Bobby Green.
Well, yeah, A, and B, I think the striking, there was a clear, distinct advantage for Green, and they were on the feet more, and Green landed more takedowns, if I'm wrong. So... Was it 2-1? Was it 2-1?
Yeah, but one of those came with a reversal. One of Green's takedowns were it was just up and back down, and Moises was on top.
Okay, good point. So, I just don't think that. I just think at this point, I get it though. It's the. I just feel like if this was the old, this is where I'm I've been saying a lot, but this is where I say to myself, the judging back in the day should really learn something from the judging today, because they really did a good job of really looking at the evolution of grappling and incorporating that into their decision. I just think though, this wasn't the fight for it, right?
Understandable.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Hey, I guess I get what you're saying. I think it was close. I think I would have liked to have seen Green get the win. I'm excited for Moises though, and I don't know. I came away from this fight being I kind of scored that for Green, but honestly, I had so much fun watching this fight. I loved it. Green, I love his swagger too. You'll just hit him with something, or he'll miss, and he'll just no sell it. He'll just be like, nope, didn't land, didn't feel it.
There's times I get really annoyed with Green though.
Yeah,
I really.
Man, put your hands up. He's got to put it.
No, it's hands down as a style, David.
I get it. Okay, never mind. I don't know anything about fighting, but all I'm gonna say, it smacked to me of an arrogance almost and a lack of respect. I feel like against a more seasoned striker, he's putting his hands up.
Like Lando Venata.
Well, Lando Venata fights hands down too, so that's definitely a bad.
They were both hands down
example.
Yeah, I agree with Michael's sentiments exactly.
Man, okay, so let's get to boxing news, because there were some interesting boxing matches.
Guys, it's been like an hour and a half, and my dog's at home. I think I actually got a piece.
Sorry, what? What? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you can go.
It's been over. Yeah, it's this one's grown late because it's been a very important podcast for all of us. But has it been 2.5 hours? Did we get here at 4?
We did, but then we didn't start for an hour because you and David were talking about dogs and stuff. Yeah. But that's cool.
Okay. It was
it's cool, man.
Yeah, blame it on the dogs.
Yeah, blame it on the dogs. These guys over here, Ghanaians, they probably eat dogs. Am I right, people? Am I right?
No, man. I'm gonna get me a couple. I'm gonna get me a couple Rottweilers one day.
Rotties are beautiful dogs, man.
Yeah, man.
Gorgeous.
Oh my God, guys, we're in the middle of a podcast.
I'm sorry.
All right, anyway,
Okay.
I love me a
Do you want to
Rottweiler.
talk about the boxing? Or
Real
the rest
quick,
of
I
the
just got to
other
say
part?
goodbye to the fans. I got to say goodbye to the fans real quick, guys. In this crazy.
By the way,
messed up world,
I'm keeping this in, all of it. Okay.
Do it.
All right.
I dare you. In this crazy mussed up world.
Must up.
Mussed up, where Stefano's got to leave the podcast early. You got 3 things. You got the Black Panthers. You've got Michael's very questionable opinions of heavyweight, and you've got David's puppy. Stay safe, people.
By the way, David's puppy is in the shot most of the time.
Look at this cutie.
Hey.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right, later,
Stefano.
man. Okay, boxing news.
Yeah, across town from the Apex. Well, actually, we can start off with the Usyk versus Chisero. Usyk gets the decision over the unanimous decision over Chisero. Yeah.
Quick question: Is that guy Nigerian? Derek Chisora?
Honestly, I don't know. I know he is by way of the UK, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what his ethnicity is. But Alexander
Usyk's
Usyk
Ukrainian.
is Ukrainian, where I'm just being informed. And he outpoints him. I did not watch this fight, but Michael wants to see Usyk go up against some American heavyweights. But this was definitely a
Not
big
necessarily
win.
American heavyweights. I just want to see him against in America. I want to see him
In
fight
America, okay.
more against top level competition because I wonder how the judging, because judging is not kind to European fighters
Right.
when they cross over into America. But yeah,
But this was a big one. So yeah, that's definitely gonna move the needle. Across town from the UFC Apex, I always butcher his name. Naoya Inoue.
I think it's Noya anyway.
Naoya Inoue. He stops Jason Maloney in the 7th round. No, was it the 7th round? Yes, it was the 7th round. It was the 7th round with a vicious right hand to the face. And this one, I'm so impressed with. Inoue. Maloney's a very good seasoned fighter, and and Inoue just understands the game so well. His jab, he utilizes it so well. His speed, his explosiveness, everything about this. And Michael, I know you're high on this guy, but like I'm just coming late to the party, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. He holds the IBF and the WA titles, and this was under Top Rank, so we got to see it for free, and it was special. It was very, very, very fun fight to watch. Mike, you wanna?
No, well, I'm only high on Inoue and a lot of Asian fighters just because I've always been saying this is that the Asian fighters for some reason don't get a lot of shine, but these, especially in the lightweight classes, these guys can go. Mm-hmm. These guys can go, and the problem is they don't play the American game where they just don't wait for fights.
Yeah.
These guys are active and they go 400 times a year, what it seems like. And because of that, they mess up the record and they can't get any good fights.
Yeah.
And, Inoue's got a good management team behind him who's convincing him to play the American way and not take a fight every 3 weeks. And because of that, and he had a 15-month layoff. He took like a year off. And because of that, Inoue, I think can capture the imagination and give the Asian, because that's the one thing, the Asian population and a lot of the Asian countries had guys in the past, especially in the lightweight classes, and then they kind of just started to die down a little bit because of the way they were taking too many fights. And now they're starting to have a guy. And I've said this about boxing, I've said this about MMA. The one thing about these sports is everybody can have a guy.
Yeah.
Everybody can have a guy. So I think Inoue is going to be their guy.
Yeah, no, he's very talented. Very talented. And And also, he was dominating the fight for most of the fight. But very different from probably the biggest fight of the night, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Leo El Terremoto Santa Cruz. This fight was awesome. I love this fight. This was so exciting. Gervonta Tank Davis was coming into this fight. Gervonta Tank Davis won in the 6th round with a vicious uppercut. He caught Leo Santa Cruz.
Slip left.
Slipped his third straight and caught him underneath the chin. Tank Davis came into this fight, there were questions about him if he could make the weight, if his cardio was there, if he could survive a late round. And Leo Santa Cruz was a big test, 37-1. Tank Davis also is a knockout artist. They call him Baby Mike Tyson. He's had 23 fights and won all 23. 22 he's won by knockout. And Leo Santa Cruz is a volume puncher. He's gonna hit you with a lot of flurries. He's not gonna quit. His cardio is not gonna dwindle or waver. He's gonna come at you and come at you and come at you. And this was a big test for probably Tank Davis's biggest test. His biggest test to date. And I was just very impressed with how Tank, was able to get the job done. I said it, I was on live with my boy Othniel Spence. Shout out to Othniel Spence. Basketball, the man out there in I can't remember the school that he goes to, but he's a basketball star somewhere out west in Vancouver. And we were live, and I was telling him, Gervonta Tank, Tank, he struggles with guys. You'll see it a lot at the beginning of fights. Guys who move around a lot, who
fight long.
Leo was definitely using that jabbing. If I'm being completely honest, Leo actually was probably winning a lot of those rounds. I think by the time it got to the knockout in the 6th round, I would probably give Leo like 4 out of 6 rounds. But just and Leo, even before he got knocked out, he didn't look like he was definitely getting touched up and definitely feeling Tank's power, but he did not back away. And I just knew this about Tank. Like eventually he's gonna catch up to you. He's gonna hit you, and he's got a decent chin, and he's his defense is good enough to the point where he's going to catch you with his power, and that's what he did. I said it was going to be a knockout in the 7th. My boy Othniel said it was going to be an uppercut in the 5th, so we were both kind of right, and he caught him in the 6th.
You guys met him in the middle.
We met in the middle. So
look, I think it
was a good fight.
It was a good fight. That was as competitive of a 6-round knockout fight I've seen. Leo Santa Cruz.
Shout out to Leo Santa Cruz too. What a great competitor.
Yeah, he was as competitive as you'd like to see have guys. And here's the thing about boxing: there's a lot of guys who you don't know who can give guys trouble. I just think that obviously with a knockout as devastating as that, I don't think he's going to be the same. I don't think he's going to be. So that's the sad thing. But
yeah, Leo, he felt that he let a lot of people down, and Leo, Chab, I just want to say you're wrong. You haven't let anybody down. You came out and showed your warrior spirit, and you put on a great performance. Like, even though you didn't get the results you wanted, you put on a great performance.
So who is
Leo probably doesn't listen to the podcast, but somebody send this to Leo, whoever is in his circles.
Yeah. So who's Tank face next?
I think he's got some options. He could set up something with Lomachenko. Teofimo Lopez, that would be epic. A lot of people say no to Lopez because just because he's bigger and longer and probably the more skilled boxer. But I say yes because, like I said, Tank, I think Lopez is going to try and do the same thing that Leo did in the beginning. Move around, use his length and everything, but I think Tank can combat that. He has his own skills. He's a brawler, so it's weird. Like, a lot of people don't want to give brawlers respect, but he's more of a brawler than a boxer. But I think he can give Lopez some challenges. Who else? There's other guys he can fight. There's a lot of options in that 135. What's up?
Do you think that Lopez takes that Tank fight before the Loma fight, or would it make sense to have the Loma fight and then the winner faces Tank?
Man.
Or is there even any point in someone like Lomachenko fighting Tank Davis?
I think maybe if Lomachenko wants to get back to fighting Teofimo Lopez, I think that he would. It might build up some credibility to fight Tank. I don't know. Maybe. I really don't see a path. I really don't know what the path for Lomachenko would be, if I'm being completely honest. But maybe it might be through Tank. I don't know. I think there's some other guys out there in like the 135 division. I don't know. It's hard. Not too many are coming to mind. You got. I know they want to set up. I know Gervonta Davis. They're trying to set up Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia to fight each other. Ryan Garcia is a taller fighter as well, and also has a lot of power. There's a lot of power punchers in this 130 to 135 divisions. Like, there's a lot of power punchers in that area. So I know they're trying to set
Ryan
up
Garcia, wasn't he the one in that controversy where he was kissing some 18-year-old girl? Is that another one? Is that another guy I'm thinking of?
I have no idea.
All right,
but honestly, though, I follow Ryan Garcia on Instagram, and he definitely hangs out around a lot of young-looking girls. But I don't know. I'm gonna stay away from that conversation. So I don't know. But but Ryan
Garcia's fighting somebody too. Isn't he fighting somebody in a couple of weeks?
I think something's being set up. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I think there's sometimes with these boxing matches, you don't know until literally the week of. Yeah. By the way, I literally almost missed this Gervonta Tank Davis fight if I didn't pass by it on the All the Smoke podcast, and then I kind of got tuned into it. But I mean, I think Ryan Garcia's fighting before the end of the year. I think Devin Haney's fighting before the end of the year. I'm kind of just the only big fights I really know about is Terrence Crawford fighting on the 14th of November, and Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. But Ryan Garcia, though, this kid is extremely talented, very powerful, and dangerous. So I think that fight against Tank would be good. I think immediately that will be Tank's next opponent.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking up here. It says Brian Garcia is facing Luke Campbell, whoever that is. And Devin Haney also has a fight against, I think it's...
Luke Campbell actually, his last fight was against Lomachenko, and Lomachenko finished him, I think, midway through the fight, so...
But there's a bunch of good fighters. I mean, Devin Haney's pretty good, too, so... Yeah. I don't know, even if all those guys fight
That's
each
why
other...
I love you, David. You're quick with the research and the you're quick with the research. That's why I like you.
Hilarious. No, I'm just looking it up. I'm looking up a couple articles, and that's 3, 4, 5 exciting fighters, all within the same-ish kind of range. I think it's an exciting time for boxing, so I'm gonna be watching more.
Yeah.
All right, now I have you on the camera. On to one championship news. No, okay.
Nope. And then no.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about it?
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we I guess shouts out to one championship. What can we talk about? The Reiner de Ritter. The problem is I haven't heard of a lot of these fighters. It was different when they had some consistency with who was showing up for each event. It was different when they had a tournament and you could kind of follow fighters. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these guys, I haven't seen them before, so I really can't comment
But don't let homeboy from going. This man is a world champion.
Yeah, really. Some of the fights were really interesting in this one. There was one that was actually pretty good. The Martin Nguyen versus Dan Lee. Mm-hmm. That was actually a pretty good fight because it was like two fundamentally different styles. I think one of the guys was more of like a Taekwondo guy, Dan Lee, versus Nguyen, who was definitely a little bit more of a regular Muay Thai guy, if I'm not mistaken. So that was interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much it from the ONE FC.
Oh, boo! I'm kidding.
Well, no. I just think like maybe next one.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. Let's see here. There was one more kind of thing I wanted to talk about.
Jeremy's take.
No. Oh, how much time we got? Yeah, why not? Jeremy's
quick 2-minute take.
Jeremy's take.
It's time for Jeremy's take. Look, listen, y'all. We got an election coming up in a couple of days here. And to all my American family, thank you guys for subscribing. I know some of you guys subscribed to us, and I really appreciate you guys for doing that. And a lot of you guys who are level-headed and reasonable and rational people, with the possibility of civil unrest happening, I just commend you guys and implore you guys to continue to be rational, level-headed, reasonable, diplomatic human beings.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus. Let him burn. Let him burn.
No, ignore him. You guys are doing the right things. Just go out and vote, and just continue to uphold, the great democracy that is Western society. And
how dare you? How dare you? And don't say things like that on this podcast, man.
Why?
Western democracy, great. Next thing you're gonna break out into this.
Listen. But the point of this Jeremy's take is that the point of this Jeremy's take is that you guys haven't been perfect, but one thing is that you've always been able to work together, which is why I got to enjoy the luxury of I keep singing that in the background. I like that. I've gotten to enjoy the luxury of an America that works together. So just continue to do that.
Man, are we in the middle of like a Coke ad, like a McDonald's ad or something? This guy said,
and also, listen, all you Steelers fans, stop blowing up my phone, okay? Stop blowing up my phone, all right? You guys are not. You guys wish you could be the Ravens, all right? You wish you had the consistency of the Ravens, all right?
All right.
And the Michigan and the Michigan fan base. We need to fire Jim Harbaugh. Okay, get rid of Jim Harbaugh. Get rid of the defensive coordinator. Get rid of Jim Harbaugh, the defensive coordinator. Get rid of the offensive coach. Get rid of the equipment manager if you have to. Okay, we need. Okay, I'm tired of getting curb stomped by Ohio State, and now we gotta hear at Michigan State too. Okay,
did they win? Did they win yesterday?
Yes, Michigan State beat Michigan. Okay. Like. Yeah, and Steelers fans, okay, you guys are trash.
All right, there was Jeremy's take. All right, let's end the show on this note. Yeah, guys, I will say, do vote. Like, what? I hear there's going to be the greatest voter turnout in like the last 100 years or so.
Yeah, you got things like voter suppression and whatever. Your votes matter. Man.
Yeah, your votes matter, and people will tell you it doesn't. It matters. Okay, vote. Yeah,
don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged.
I don't even care if you vote for Trump or Biden, honestly, because I'm not there. But just vote. Like, make your voice heard, right?
Yeah.
I like, if you vote for one or the other, I don't care. I don't think less of you. Just make a decision. Anyway, in this crazy, messed up world where, it's again late and I got to edit this podcast, I got work in the morning. Just remember, you got life, you got family, and this podcast. Stay safe, everybody.
Peace out.
Peace.